Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, back-to-back fight weeks. We got the Unks against next-gen fighters. Last week, Justin Gaethje beat the piss out of Paddy Pimblett and became the. He's probably the oldest interim champion. But now we got Alexander the Great Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes 2. The rematch that no one asked for. Well, let's just call it how it is. Alex Volkanovski is simply a generational talent, and this fight is not going to do anything for his legacy. This is a very undeserved rematch, and if he loses, we would have to see one of the weakest trilogies of all time. Just god awful matchmaking from Dana White. Bro, just you have enough money and you have probably exploited enough fighters. Just call it quits and go home. You don't have to ruin other fighters who are still giving all they got. Anyhow, watching their first fight, everyone will realize the astronomical gap in skill between Volkanovski and Lopes. Volkas simply leaks ahead of Lopes. But MMA is just so weird where it's not about whether you are better or not. It's about whether did you find the right shot at the right time. Because you can be significantly better than someone else but still get knocked the fuck out. So in this video, we will watch Alex Volkanovski's excellence in the first fight, but also where Lopes went wrong. Well, starting with Volk, not only Volk has the better skills, he has the better timing. His cage awareness is way better. His speed is better. He's faster. He has more variety to his weapons. Everything was simply better than Lopes in this fight. And this is one of the first main sequence that happened during the fight, and it shows the level of fight IQ that we are dealing with, or at least Lopes was dealing with. So Volk starts with the right hand, a right overhand, and Lopes just simply covers up. When we have the classic Volkanovski combo where he comes up with the jabs immediately after the right hand. So Lopes tries to counter this by throwing an uppercut and coming with a left hook, which is also very typical Diego Lopes combo. But what Volkanovski does here is this: after he threw the jab, he simply pulled it behind to cover up, and then he again tried to come up with another right overhand. Because when you throw the left hook, you're gonna be open afterwards, and this is what Volkanovski tried to do it, but he really couldn't. He didn't really land it because his distance was wrong. But this is Alex Volkanovski we are talking about, so of course he takes a note of this. And then a minute later, the exact same combo happens. So Volk again starts the same sequence. He had already thrown his right overhand and then came up with the left jab, but this time instead of pulling it out, he leaves it there. So if you leave it there, you're gonna have a better idea of where Lopes's chin is gonna be. And Lopes tries the same uppercut and left hook combo, but this time Volkanovski knows where Lopes's head is. So this time, the right hand doesn't miss and he cracks him. Any sequence that happens in this fight from Volk, he immediately takes a mental note of what's happening, and punishes Lopes for it. Here is another sequence. So Volkanovski throws again the right overhand like he did most of this fight. He was constantly going for this, but he did not really go with the sequence here. He rather just wanted to see what Lopes reacts with. So when he threw the right hand and then he just immediately pulled back to see what Lopes is trying to do, and he saw Lopes is trying to counter with his own right hand. If you're gonna do this, obviously you're gonna have to plant your left leg, because the power comes from your right leg to your left leg when you're throwing a right hand, a right straight or a right overhand. And Volkanovski takes a note of this. So what does Volkanovski do afterwards? Again, throws the right hand. He knows Lopes is gonna come up with his own right hand and simply throws a leg kick. And Lopes just misses both of it, because the right hand, Volkanovski is obviously hiding his chin behind his shoulder, which deflects the right hand, and then when the left hook was coming, he was already out of there. Alex Volkanovski does not simply fight, he just analyzes everything during the fight, and he will take advantage of you if you're making any mistakes. Again, another sequence. By this time, this was the fifth round. By this time, Volkanovski had complete knowledge on what Lopes was. Lopes, in all fairness, was not doing a lot. He was just throwing the uppercut and left hook, and then sometimes he was throwing the jab, sometimes he was throwing the right hand. But he really wasn't doing much of it. So Volkanovski knew this by this time, and he knew if he throws a right hand, Lopes is most likely going to come up with an uppercut. And throwing an uppercut naked is very dangerous, because uppercut leaves you very vulnerable. And Volkanovski knows his face is going to be there. So this time, instead of coming up with a jab, he just goes with a left hook. Cracks Lopes clean on the chin. And Volkanovski obviously knew the next shot from Lopes is the left hook. His own left hook is going to make him move away already. And by the time Lopes was trying to throw his shot, Volkanovski was already out of there. This fight was just a showing of Volkanovski's fight IQ, but also how limited Diego Lopes was. His fight IQ was limited, his weapons of choice were limited. He was just throwing the three shots more or less. He wasn't even really throwing the leg kicks properly. He tried to throw a spinning heel hook, but it was completely shit. And even I think even Joe Rogan was trashing him on that. So where did Lopes go wrong? The first main thing is that his lack of weapons. He was surprisingly so limited in this fight. He just basically was throwing the uppercut and then left hook repeatedly, even though Volkanovski had the read on him. But you can be limited with your weapons and still be very successful. Like take Topuria for example. Topuria doesn't really throw a lot of it, but he makes it work because his timing is very well and his footwork is very well. He's very positionally aware where he is, and which brings me to the next point, which is the lack of footwork. Diego Lopes was just chasing Alex Volkanovski, and you're not gonna win by just chasing Alex Volkanovski. You're gonna have to stop Alex Volkanovski from moving where he wants to move. And the third point, in my opinion, is that he was always second in this fight. Volkanovski was the one that was always starting the car crash. He was the one that was always coming up with the right hand, and then Lopes tries to counter it with a right uppercut or a right overhand and left hook combo. This was always happening. He cannot be going second every time. He needs to go forward. He needs to pressure properly. He needs to cut the cage. And then he needs to make Volkanovski pay for moving all the time. Let me show what I mean with lack of footwork and proper like pressuring skills from Lopes. So he was pushing Volkanovski here, and then Volkanovski doesn't really like it. So obviously he's gonna try to move one way or another. Here he tries to go to the right, And what does Lopes do? Simply chase him, just goes forward, and this allows Volkanovski to have all this space to come towards, and he simply circles to the center. And now Volkanovski is completely free. These are basic cage cutting skills that, if you're at the highest level of MMA, especially in a division like featherweight, you need to have this shit dialed down. Like, compare this against Volkanovski. So this is the difference in footwork and pressuring skills and cage cutting skills between Volkanovski and Lopes. So Volk tries to do a foot rip. Um, Lopes doesn't really fall down. He gets his balance, goes to the cage already. Look at this distance. You don't want to be here. So Lopes doesn't really like this and wants to escape out of this position. So he tries to escape. So what did Lopes do in the last time? He just simply chased him in this direction. But Volkanovski is not going to let him do this. He does not chase him, but he goes and cuts the cage. And this simply does not allow Lopes to escape, and he has to fight his way out of here now. This is the difference in skills between these two. And you don't really need fancy weapons for this. Again, back to the Topuria example. Whenever Volkanovski was just freely moving to the right or left, Topuria did not simply let him go. Oh, you want to go right to the right? I'm going to throw a leg kick, get your balance off, and then come up with right left combo, some crazy combo that would probably KO most people. But this is what you need to do. You cannot let Volkanovski have all the space that he wants and simply let him move as much as he wants. The small stuff adds up. But as he said, it's not about whether you have the better skills or the other guy has the better skills. It's about finding the right shot. And Lopes did almost find the right shot. And in fact, it happens almost twice. So in the second round, around this time, Volkanovski throws the leg kick, and then he simply keeps his chin high and then just pulls straight behind. This is completely open, and Lopes threw it, but he was slightly off, so Volkanovski was managed to escape from here. 40 seconds later, again a similar sequence happens. Volkanovski tries to throw the jab, tries to pull back just directly, and then gets cracked by Lopes. So this fight is not something that is completely out of Lopes's hands, but he needs to punish these little things and not simply let Volkanovski escape freely. And if he can punish him and he just pressure him backwards, you can find the shots. And this is what Diego Lopes needs to do if he wants to win against Volkanovski this weekend. So anyhow, I still think Volkanovski is just too good for Diego Lopes, but with his chin and this really bad habit of pulling straight back with his chin high, I think there are possibilities for Lopes to win here. Let me know in the comments if you think Diego Lopes will get it done this weekend, or will Volkanovski again put another masterclass and show there are levels to this. So like and subscribe, and I will see you in another video.